Ever been in that spot where you want to say, hey, you can't do that, in German, but you're just not quite sure how? Well, today we are going to unlock the secret to doing exactly that. We're going to master a really key piece of the language, and it'll only take a few minutes. Let's dive in.
Okay, picture this. You're in Berlin, you found the perfect parking spot, but then you see a sign. It says, Hier darf man nicht parken. Now your first thought might be, okay, no parking, right? But it's actually way more specific than that. This phrase isn't a command, it's all about permission. And you know what? Getting this difference right is one of those little things that makes you sound truly fluent.
So, to talk about what is and isn't allowed, German gives us a very specific, very powerful tool. And that tool is a modal verb called dürfen. This one little word is the entire foundation for what we're about to build. So, let's get to know it a little better.
At its heart, dürfen is all about one thing: permission. It's the verb you use when you want to say someone is allowed to do something or that they may do it. A great way to think about it is like holding a permission slip. If you have dürfen, you have permission.
Now, of course, like any good German verb, dürfen changes depending on who we're talking about. But don't worry about memorizing this whole chart right now. Just zero in on the important ones. Ich darf for I may, du darfst for you may, and darf for he may. You see that pattern? The verb adjusts, but that core idea of permission, that stays the same. All right, so we've got our verb for permission. How do we flip it to mean the exact opposite? How do we build a prohibition to say you can't do something? Well, it turns out there's a really neat and logical formula for it. Here it is, the secret sauce in just 2 steps. First, you take the right form of dürfen, like darf or darfst, and you lock it into the second spot in the sentence. It always goes there. Then, the other verb, the action you're not allowed to do, gets kicked all the way to the very, very end. This creates a kind of verb sandwich that frames the whole idea.
Theory is great, but let's see how this formula actually works out in the real world. Let's take a look at some everyday German examples you're likely to see.
And here we are, right back at our sign in Berlin. Now it makes perfect sense. Look at the structure. Darf is in position 2. Then you have what's not allowed, and the action verb parken, or to park, is at the very end. It isn't just don't park here. It's one is not permitted to park here. See the difference? Here's another super common one you'll see. On a train in Germany, this is the rule. And notice the pattern? It's exactly the same. Im Zug is the first piece of info. Spot number 2 is taken by darf. And where's the action verb? Rauchen. To smoke? All the way at the end. The structure is just rock solid. Okay, so what happens if we change who we're talking to? Let's say we're talking directly to du or you. Well, the verb dürfen conjugates to darfst to match. But does the overall structure change? Nope, not one bit. Darfst is still in position 2, and the main action, eintreten, or to enter, is right at the end. The formula holds up perfectly. Let's try one more, this time in a little story. Let's say we're talking about Tony, who's 15. In Germany, the rule for him is darf, he may, what? Noch kein Auto fahren. He is not yet allowed to drive a car. The action, fahren, to drive, gets punted right to the end. It's a clear, firm rule, all built on that foundation of permission.
Okay, you're really getting the hang of this, but I have to warn you, there is one major trap that almost every single learner falls into. It's the difference between saying someone may not do something and saying they don't have to. Let's clear this up once and for all.
All right, pay close attention, because this one is a game changer. Nicht dürfen, the one we've been practicing, means something is absolutely forbidden. It's a hard no. Du darfst nicht gehen means you are not allowed to go. But nicht müssen is totally different. That just means there's no obligation. Du musst nicht gehen means you don't have to go. But hey, you can if you want. See the massive difference? One is a rule, the other is a choice.
I know that distinction can feel a little tricky at first, so I want to give you a super simple, powerful mental shortcut that'll help you remember it forever.
Here it is. From now on, just think of dürfen as a traffic light. When you have permission, just plain old dürfen, that's a green light. You've got your permission slip, you're good to go. But the second you add nicht to it, creating nicht dürfen, that is an immediate absolute red light. The gate is locked, the road is closed. It is a total prohibition. Green light, you may. Red light, you may not. It's that simple.
So there you have it. You now have the key to understanding rules and what's forbidden all across Germany.
By mastering Dürfen, you can read the signs, understand the rules, and speak with so much more precision. You've unlocked the power of prohibition. But that does leave us with a pretty interesting question. If this is how you say what someone may not do, how do you just give a direct command like, "Don't do that"? We'll leave that one for you to think about.